Rava Amar Kegon Shayla Choyla B'Soch Beisa. When is an example also when a korban like a so'ir might be prior to his man? So let's say the kohen had a sick person in his home. V'shachat imo b'yom HaKippurim, and they shechted a goat to feed the sick person. It so happened that that goat was the mother of the So'ir Lazazel. Well, we know there's a din that you're not allowed to shecht v'shor oseh osoves b'no lo sishchatu b'yom echad. You cannot shecht a parent and a child on the same day. So maybe you'd have a problem sending the So'ir Lazazel. But it wouldn't be prohibited because lo sishchatu amrachman v'hai lav shchita. Throwing the goat off the cliff is not shchita. So why should there be a problem with shechting the mother on the same day? Pushing the goat off of the cliff, that's its shchita. So it's viewed as shchita, and therefore you would not be able to do it if the mother had been shechted on the same day. Im shel shem zeh shel Allah. Then we said that if after you did the lottery, if one of the goats died, you have to do another lottery. Amarav sheni shebezug rishon yikarev. So let's say the Azazel died of the first goat, and then you made a lottery, and you chose another Azazel. So therefore, you have a Sor Lashem in the first group, and you have a Sor Lashem in the second group. So Rav says the first group, the Sheni Shebezug Rishon Yikarev, and the second one that was Lashem, that is not needed because you already shechted the first one, Sheni Shebezug Sheni Yira, gets put into pasture until it gets a mum and then sold for Nadavas. Rabbi Yochanan Sheni Shebezug Rishon Yira. No. If the Azazel of the first group died, then the Sor Lashem in the first group goes to pasture. And now that you've designated a new animal goat for the Azazel from the second pair, the second pair's goat goes Lashem. Sheni Shebezug Sheni Yikar. B'may kamiflagi. Rav Savar Balechayim Ein Nitchin. You have the first pair. The Sor Lemishtalech died. But the concept of dichui, being pushed aside, is only, for example, you shechted an animal. The blood of that animal was taken out of the azara, then brought back in. But the blood was nitche, so it can't be used anymore. But a live animal cannot be nitche. So just because the Sor Lashem in the first group had its partner, the Sor Lazazel die, a Baal Chai is not nitche, and therefore you can offer the first animal as the korban. But Rav Yochanan said, no, Baal Chaim nitchin. Just like a limb of a korban or dam of a korban, a part of the korban could be nitche, a whole live animal could be nitche as well. So in this case, when the pair had been designated and the Sor Lazazel dies, the first animal is pushed aside as well. Now, my time in the Rav, that a Baal Chai is not nitche. The Yolef b'mechus zman. For example, an animal that is now 5 days old. An animal has to be 8 days old to be shechted. Well, today you can't use it, but 3 days from now you can use it. It's a live animal. Today it can't be used. 3 days from now it can be used. We don't say since it was nidche. So the same thing by my balchai. However, the Gemara immediately objects, midami, it's not comparable. A 5-day-old animal had never been roi. Lo ischazi klal. Hacha nira v'nidche. Here, these pair of goats, you did the lottery on them. One was a Lazazel, one was a Lashem. They were both near it. They're both ready to be used. Now, one of the pair died. So that could be that the other one is Nitcha. Because since they were Roy, and now they're not Roy, because there's not a pair, maybe you can be Matche Balchai. So that's not a good proof for Rav. Elainu time in the Rav, the Yolif mi balmum oiver. You have an animal that's a shlamim, and then it gets a mum. Now, while it has a mum, but it's a passing mum. While it has a mum, you can't offer it. But then, once it loses the mum, you can offer it. An animal that's a balmum right now, you can't offer it. Later on, when it's roy, you can offer it. Same thing here. By balmum oiver, where do you see that that's correct? See, ki mashchasam bahem mum bam. Lo yiratzu lachem. If it has a mum, it's not hurtza. Mum bam hu de lo yirtzu. If the mum is in the animal right now, it can't be used. Ha'avar mum and yirtzu. But if the mum is a passing mum and it passes, you can use it. Rav Yochanan mi'et rachmana behem. It says ki mashchasam behem. It's only by them. Hemu dechida avar mum and yirtzu. It's only in that case by a balmum that if it has a passing mum, you can offer it. But in our case of the two goats, if the Sar Lazazel died, the other one is nitcha. The Rav ahu bahem beinayu de lo mirtzu. To teach me that the korban itself cannot be hurtza. But if you mixed it up, if these mumoivers mixed up with other korbanos that were kosher, everything becomes hortza. Kiditnan. Evorim tmimim bevorim balimumim. You have limbs that came from an unblemished animal that was shechted, and you have limbs that came from an animal that was a balmum. If the head of one of the groups of Evorim had already been offered on them, you can offer the rest of them. If the intestines were offered, you can also offer the rest of the intestines. They don't agree. Even if you'd offered all of them, but it was one left, you wouldn't be able to offer that. But you see in the Tanakama, according to Rabbi Eliezer, that the psul is only medivrei chachamim, midin Torah. Once it's mixed, it's like bittul, and they're not possible. So that's what Rav learns from the Baham, the miut of the Baham. What does Rav Yochanan do? V'yidich nafkele mibam Baham. He learns both of the dinim. One from mashchasam be'mum bam and Baham. The idich bam Baham loy darshan. Rav doesn't darshan both limudim. He only darshans one of them. Ule Rav nihi nami de balichai meina nitchin. Fine. Rav made a statement that the first animal of the first group should be korev, because he said balei chaim are not nidche. Fine, but according to Rav, what's the svara? E boy high nakriv, e boy high nakriv. You have two animals that were designated Lashem. Why should you offer this in preference to the other? Offer the other one. Amar Rav Savar Rav Yosi Damer mitzvah berishon. It's different yisod, since the first was the Rishon. It's a mitzvah min hamufchar to use the Rishon. Now, hey, Rabbi Yossi, which Rabbi Yossi is this? Inem Rabbi Yossi de Kupois. Is it the Rabbi Yossi of the tzedakah boxes for the shkolim in the Beis Hamikdash? It's not. Sholish kupa shol sholish soim. Shebehen Torah salishka. They would put Aleph Beis Gimel. First, you'd load up Aleph, then Beis, then Gimel. The cause of Aleph Beis Gimel. The Tanya Rav Yossi Lama cause of Aleph Beis Gimel. Why did they do that? Leda Ezemen Nisram Rishon. So we know which box was filled up first. Lahavi Emen Rishon Shabbat Mitzvah Rishon. So is it this Rabbi Yosi who says that you bring the mitzvah min Rishon? So one says no, because maybe theirs is different. You know what? When the first box was filled, the second box was empty. So it wasn't roy yet. So maybe that's why you do the first. So there's not an example if you have two boxes that were filled at the same time that you would do the Rishon first. Maybe not. El Rabbi Yossi de Pesach. It's Rabbi Yossi who has a shita by the Korban Pesach that's Rishon. It's not. Hamafish pischo v'avad. Person designated an animal to be his Korban Pesach, then he lost it. V'hifrish acher tachtav. And he separated as a replacement. Then they found the first one. So they have two animals, the first one and the replacement one. The Chachamim says you can choose whichever one you want. Rabbi Yossi mitzvah barishon. No, the mitzvah is the first. However, if the second animal is a nicer animal, you can bring from that. But this seems to be the source of Rabbi Yossi that says mitzvah shebarishon, which is why Rav said that the goat of the first pair should be offered. Amarava, deka masisin kavose de Rav. I'll show you a Mishnah that proves Rav, who said that you should offer the first goat of the pair. Ubraisa kavose Rabbi Yochanan, who said you should offer the goat from the second pair. Masisin kavose de Rav diktoni im shel shem meis. If it was the one of the pair that had died, which was the Lashem, so then you do a new lottery on two goats. That should replace the one that died. But the idich kid koi koi. But the other animal of the Azazel, which did not die, remains as the Azazel. So you see, you don't remove the animal who was the pair of the one that died. So that's a right to Rav. Baraisa kavosed Rav Yochanan. But there's a baraisa to support Rav Yochanan. By the way, we paskin like Rav. The Rambam paskins like Rav. Baraisa kavosed Rav Yochanan. Diktani, Sheni, any of them, Sheni shebezug rishon, Sheni shebezug Sheni. Which Sheni? Is the first pair or the second pair? Kishomer Yamot Chai, that the one Lazozo should stand alive, and not the one where its friend had died. Meaning, you need to send the Sur Lazazel when its pair is still alive. Well, in the first group, the one is not alive, so you use the pair in the second group. Now, my mashma yabel chai v'lo far amad, that it means sort of future tense, not one that had stood already. Tanan. V'odam Rav Yehuda, Yamad Chai v'lo shekvar amad. That's the limud. It's got to be not that it stood before and died, but it's still alive. Then the Mishnah said, V'odam Rav Yehuda gave other examples of dichui, that if you shechted the goat, forget about if the goat died. Even if you shechted the goat and you have the blood in the cup, and you're about to walk into the Kodesh Kadoshim, and it's spilled, so that starts the process again. Yomus HaMishtaleach. Here, you kill the Mishaleach, because it is now paired up with a cup that, so it's Nidche, and you have to do the Hagrol again. Vice versa, Mesa Mishtaleach Yishavech Adam. If after they've collected the blood, the Sorla Mishtalech dies, you dump the dam. Now this seems to be clearly like Rav Yochanan. We don't allow you to use any of the first pair items. According to Rav Yochanan, use the second pair. Rav says use the first pair. Since the blood spilled and the Mishtalech was alive, you have to kill it. Because the Baal Chai is nitche, can't be used anymore. According to Rav, why in this case you have to kill the Sur Halazazel? Rabbi Yehuda has a unique shita. Of course, I certainly am not saying my shita according to the shita of Rabbi Yehuda. Ki kamina libi rabbanon, who doesn't hold of this nishpach hakos. Bishlam l'rav, ba'apligi Rabbi Yehuda rabbanon. So we could say, now we understand well the machlokas between Rabbi Yehuda Chachamim regarding whether balachayim are nifchim or not. El Rav Yochanan b'may pligi. But according to Rav Yochanan, who seems to hold that there is no machlokes, l'chura, what are Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim arguing in? Amar Rav Hadam rinan daika masis and kavos derav. Because we said the Mishnah fits Rav sheet. Tnan, and it's hard to explain it according to the sheet of Rav Yochanan. That's why Rava was medayik the Mishnah according to Rav. Tnan, we had another opinion in the Mishnah that in the case where the Azazel died, you would not kill the remaining goat because these are korbonei tzibur and ein chatas tzibur mesa. For example, if an individual person eats chaylev or eats dam, he has to bring in korban chatas, and then let's say the animal is lost and found, and you've already been mechaper with another animal, so there we say the chatas is mesa. But that's because it's a chatas yochid. There is no concept of something that belongs by the tzibur dying. But a yochid's animal could be put to death. So Bishlam Rav Yochanan, Rav Abba Rav Dam Rav Abba Rav, Hakol Moedim Shniskaper B'Shein Avuda. So this is the case of having two chatases. You lose it, and then you find the first one after you designated its replacement. And the question is, which chatas did you have kapor with? The one that had not been lost, or the one that had been lost and found? So this will continue when we learn the daf next. So
On Wednesday.
Tomorrow night is a wedding, so we're gonna try to learn both blot. Tomorrow's blot